In this video, I want to explain fully why a recession is coming and how you can actually protect your money if a recession actually does come, and how you can actually get through it, not only surviving, but actually improving, getting more money, and actually being on top while everybody else is struggling. There's a 60% chance currently that a recession will actually happen. Economics are putting recession probability at 60% or even higher right now, and most people have no idea what it means for their money. So you need to understand that a recession has a really big probability right now of happening, and you need to actually be prepared for it, and you need to know what to do if a recession comes and how to actually get through it with your family, or even if you don't have a family, on your own. So let's get right into it. Number one, what does it actually mean for you? It means that 2008 is going to happen again. What happened in 2008? If you're kinda young and if you don't know what happened in 2008 was the last recession that happened. Unemployment doubled, stocks dropped 50%, property fell 30%, but within 4 years everything recovered and went higher. It was only temporary pain, not permanent, but you need to be ready for it. 2008 was 50% down, and afterwards that 50% down went to fully recovered by 2012. In 2008, everything went down by 50%, all stocks went down by 50%, property fell by 30%, and within only 4 years, everything fully recovered and everything was at the starting price. What does that mean? If a stock was at, let's say, $200 a market share, it went down to $100 a market share. In 4 years, it went back to that original state. So what does that mean? It means that if you actually held on to money, and if you had money in this time, and if you actually held off on buying anything and you had savings, if you bought during the collapse and if you bought during that market recession, if you bought those stocks, in 4 years, all of your money would have doubled. So what does that mean? That means if you had $100,000 in just savings, and if you invested it in 2008 when the recession happened, by 2012 that $100,000 would have turned into $200,000 in the matter of just 4 years. 4 years gives you $100,000. And if you're thinking about it like right now, these times, 2026, in my opinion, the market recession could be even harder, and I would project it to be at least around like 70%. So what does that mean? If you actually markets go down by 70%, it means that you can actually make even more money. That $100,000 would actually be like $250,000, which is a pretty good chunk of change if I have to say so myself. So always be prepared for it, always have savings, and always be ready to invest if a market recession happens. And additionally to it, think of your employer having stocks as well. Every single big company has stocks as well, okay? If a company's net worth is, let's say, $2 billion, right? And if a recession happens, that $2 billion is going to go to $1 billion. If they have a workforce of around 2,000 people, that workforce of 2,000 people is going to go down to 1,000 people. And if you're not one of the rarely lucky ones, you're going to be in the middle of these 1,000 people that are going to get fired because they cannot sustain the same salaries that they were paying when they had a market share of $2 billion. If they have a half only of their original market share, they can only pay half of the people. So always be prepared, always be careful. If a collapse happens and if a recession happens, ask yourself this question: are you important enough to be left? Are you one of these 1,000 people that are going to be left, or are you going to be one of these 1,000 people that are going to be fired? Look at your company. How many people do they have? How many people are better or more important at your job than you are? Are you one of those people that is going to get fired if they cut half of the workforce, or are you going to be one of the people that stays? So always be prepared for it and always have savings in case a recession happens, because you you can make a lot of money if that happens. But if you don't, and if you have all of your money invested, then you can actually lose half of your portfolio, which has been multiple years of you investing, and that is going to be really, really painful. Number two is an emergency fund. An emergency fund, your number one weapon. 60% people can't cover a $500 emergency right now. During a recession, that's catastrophic. Aim for 6 to 12 months of expenses, cash, liquid, not invested, accessible immediately. Do not have it on your account. Do not have it invested. Do not have it in savings. Aim for 6 to 12 months expenses in cash. What does that mean? It means look at your account currently. How much are you spending on expenses like, let's say, rent, groceries, insurance, healthcare, car expenses? Look at those expenses. What are your expenses for a single month? Do a calculation. If, for example, your expenses are $1,000 a month, if, for example, your expenses are $1,000 a month, that means that you need to aim for $6,000 to $12,000 in expenses that are in cash. You need to have savings. You need to have savings that are 6 to 12 months in expenses, and you need to have them in cash. You cannot have a unprotected emergency fund in case something happens. You need to always be prepared for an emergency, and a recession or anything in life can happen. You can suddenly have serious medical problems. You can get fired from your job. There can be a catastrophic event happening in real life where you can't have a job or you can't do anything to like make money. You need to always have an emergency fund. That is one of the most important things, and you need to have it. It is not a what if, it is not a maybe I will. You just need to have an emergency fund, and you need to always be prepared for something that can happen if something goes wrong in the world. So number three, kill bad debt now. What does that mean? Average credit card charges 20 to 25% interest annually. When income drops, that becomes crushing. Kill it in this order. First is credit card, second is personal loans, third is car finance, and fourth is mortgage. Kill all bad debt now. First of all, look at your credit card. Do you have bad credit on your credit card? How much interest do you have on your credit card payments, and how much of that bad debt is actually eating into your wealth? Number two, personal loans. Look at all of your personal loans. Can you pay them back? What is the interest rate on all of those personal loans, and how much of those personal loans can you actually pay back or minimize? Number three, car finance. Can you actually lower your car finance? Can you actually lower the payment? Can you take a cheaper car? Can you stop paying interest rates? If you have a possibility to get a cheaper option on any of those loans, or you have any unnecessary spending, all of it needs to go down. You need to lower all of these, and you need to pay them back. You need to have no debt if you can actually manage to do it. Do not take unnecessary debt. Do not have a expensive car, and do not have a expensive mortgage or any kind of credit card loans that you can't actually pay off with like high interest payments. Number four, do not touch your investments. Do not touch them. They are called investments for a reason, so do not touch them. People who panic and sold in 2008 locked in 50% losses forever. People who held recovered everything within 4 years. People who bought more doubled their money. Every recession in 100 years of history has ended, every single one. Selling means permanent losses, and holding means recovered. Bought means doubled. Let me write it down for you so you understand. Sold equals permanent loss. If you sell everything in a recession, then you will permanently lose all of your investments because you will cancel them. This is why having savings is so important. You need to have savings so you do not touch your investments. Do not touch them. They are called investments for a reason, so you wouldn't touch them. You shouldn't have more money invested than you have in savings. You always need to have more savings than investments. You always need to be ready for 6 to 12 months in expenses. You cannot have all of your money in investments, sell it all, and then afterwards only having your investments to cover for your lack of having savings. You always need to have savings and you need to have separate investments. That's why they are called investments, because they are invested and you do not touch them. You need to have different savings and you cannot touch your investments. You need to hold them because the prices will recover. And if you have those savings and if you are in a comfortable situation where you have a lot of savings, you can actually buy them and you can actually double your money. You cannot be selling all of your investments, getting losses just to survive. You need to have savings, you need to hold your investments because they will recover, and you need to keep on investing because those investments will actually double and give you back double what you invested. So always remember that you need to have savings and you need to have investments, and they need to be separate and you cannot ignore any of them. Recession proof your income. One income is danger and two incomes are protected. In 2008, people with cash bought property at 30% off and stocks at 50% off. Those assets are worth 3 to 4 times today. Every recession transfers wealth from unprepared to the prepared. Most people panic, prepared people buy. So you need to remember that you need to have two income sources to actually be protected, and you actually need to have savings to actually buy those stocks and buy those properties from those people who are panic selling and who weren't ready for that recession. If you do not have savings and if you do not have money to spend on property and stocks when a recession hits, it means you are one of those unprepared people and you will have to suffer and you will have to sell your property, or you will have to default on your mortgage, which means basically selling your property, and you will have to sell your stocks and have a loss, and you cannot do anything and you cannot be profitable and you cannot invest. You need to have multiple sources of income and you need to have savings so you can actually buy those property and buy those stocks off of the people who were not ready for it and who were not protected from it. Recessions make people richer. What does that mean? Prepared people buy and unprepared people panic and they sell. How do people become richer? The prepared people buy from those people who are unprotected and unprepared and they panic sell, and the unprepared people actually sell to those people who are prepared and have the money and have the savings to actually buy from them. Let's put it on a simple graph for everybody to understand. I'm gonna explain it to you so you understand. A prepared person will have 120k in savings, an unprepared person will have a $200,000 home, but they will have, let's say, only $3,000 in savings. Okay. When that recession hits, the unprepared person will lose his job and they will have no savings basically, and they will only be able to survive for 1 month. After that 1 month, they will look at their portfolio and look at what can they sell. Can they sell their car? Can they sell something else to survive? If they do not have anything to sell, they will sell their home. And that home will probably be really, really cheap because when a recession hits, everybody who is unprepared will start selling their homes because they need money to actually survive, but everybody else will probably not have money to actually buy that home. And what happens then? The price falls down dramatically to, let's say, $120k. And what happens when that home falls from 200k to $120k? That means that that home has lost $80,000 from its value, and now it is at 120k. What happens when the unprepared person sells their home for 120k? It goes to the person that is prepared and that has 120k in savings, and in 4 years that price from 120k will actually go back to the original 120k, and they will have a 120k home, while this unprepared person will have all of their savings and everything spent already, and they will probably have, let's say, 40k. And when that recession ends, they will have no home, they will have but probably no job, or they will have found some kind of different job, but they will be down 160K from selling their $200,000 home for really cheap, and they will have to work their whole life to try and get it back. While this prepared person will actually have a $200 home for 120K because they were prepared, and if they have 120K in savings, they probably have around, like, let's say 40K in investments. Okay, if they have those 40K in investments, they probably sold off some of them before, and they will probably get through that crisis because they are not panicked. They have a home now, and they are saving the money, and they are budgeting the money because they are smart with their money. Unprepared people will probably help all of their siblings out and help everybody out, because usually people who are unprepared have people around them who are unprepared as well, who need help as well, and usually prepared people have people around them who are prepared as well, and they do not have to help that many people. So in the ending, the prepared person will come out of the recession with a $200,000 home, while the unprepared person will come out of the recession with only $40,000 and no home. So this is why you need to be prepared, and this is why you need to have savings. You cannot be this unprepared person where in the ending, where you have worked your whole life for a piece of property that has a really high price, you need to sell it for a huge discount to only be able to survive because you have no savings, and you cannot survive without any savings. You always need to be prepared, and you need to be that prepared person that can actually take advantage of all of the deals that will come from a recession and people panic selling. So please prepare. Please be ready for a recession. A recession doesn't have to destroy you. For most people, it will, but not for you. Not after this, so go act on it and do not procrastinate. Always keep this in mind, that you need to be ready for a recession, and you cannot procrastinate on this. If you procrastinate on it, you will lose all of your opportunities, and you will actually suffer dramatically in a recession. Always be prepared for a recession and always have savings. If you watch this video, please take action now, and please look at your savings. Do you have savings? Can you actually survive for 6 months without having a job? Can you actually sustain your family for 6 months without having a job? Do you have enough savings? How are your investments? Do you have any investments? How is your mortgage? How is your car payment? Can you actually survive through a recession if it actually does happen? And how much cash do you have? You need to have cash, physical cash that you can hold in your hand, because what if an ATM doesn't work? You need to always be prepared for a recession, and you need to have cash on hand. You cannot live in a comfortable lifestyle hoping that everything will always be okay. You always need to be prepared, so please prepare and please be ready. And thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this video, it means that you are interested in all of these aspects, and it means that you are actually trying to prepare for the inevitable that a recession can actually happen. So thank you for watching, and please prepare and please follow these steps that I had in this video.